When people visit Puglia, most head straight to Bari, Polignano, Mare or Alberobello. But along this coastline are two towns that completely surprised me. Welcome to Trani, one of the most beautiful cities in Puglia. While today it is a city that is barely visited by tourists, it's one of the most interesting cities in the region because in the Middle Ages it used to be one of the most important cities in southern Italy. Located less than an hour from Bari, Trani is an incredibly easy day trip, but somehow it still remains far less visited than many other towns in Puglia. And the best place to start exploring is right here at the harbor. Today, the port is filled with fishing boats, restaurants and cafes, but centuries ago, this was one of the most important ports in the Adriatic. During the Middle Ages, Trani became a major maritime power and an important departure point for crusaders traveling towards the Holy Land. The city grew incredibly wealthy through trade and even rivaled places like Bari. Its importance was so great that powerful maritime republics such as Venice, Genoa and Florence even established their own embassies here. Something almost unimaginable today when walking through this quiet coastal town. But beyond the harbor lies the real heart of Trani, its beautiful old town. Walking through these narrow limestone streets almost feels like stepping into another era. The old town is full of hidden corners, tiny alleys and small squares. And honestly, it's the kind of place where getting lost is part of the experience. One particularly interesting part of the old town is the former Jewish quarter. During the medieval period, Trani was home to one of the most important Jewish communities in southern Italy. Several synagogues once existed here, reflecting just how diverse and cosmopolitan the city was at its peak. Unfortunately, during my visit, both the synagogue as well as the Jewish museum were closed, but the area itself is still fascinating to walk through and gives you a glimpse into the lesser known chapter of Trani's history. But without a doubt, the most iconic landmark in Trani is its spectacular cathedral. Built directly beside the sea in the 12th century, the Cathedral of Sant Nicola, Pellegrino, is considered one of the finest examples of Apulian Romanesque architecture. The cathedral is dedicated to Saint Nicholas the Pilgrim, a young Greek pilgrim who was traveling towards Rome, but died in Trani in the 11th century. After his death, he quickly became highly venerated by the local population, and the construction of this enormous cathedral began shortly afterwards in his honor. And honestly, its location might be one of the most beautiful in all of Italy. And one of the best things is that you can actually visit the cathedral completely for free, including the incredibly atmospheric interior as well as the crypt below. And right behind me you can see the Castel Svevo of Trani. It is similar to the one in Bari, but much more beautiful because it is right at the sea. The castle was built in the 13th century by Emperor Frederick II, one of the most fascinating rulers of medieval Europe, who constructed several fortresses across southern Italy. Today, you can explore the castle for around €8, learn more about its fascinating history, walk along its massive walls, and simply enjoy the incredible views over the coastline. And honestly, I actually enjoyed this castle even more than the famous one in Bari. One thing you quickly notice while exploring Trani is just how many beautiful churches the city has. Chiesa di San Giacomo has a surprisingly elegant interior hidden behind its modest exterior, while the Church of All Saints is one of the city's oldest medieval churches and was once linked to the Knights Templars. Meanwhile, churches like Santa Teresa and San Francesco continue to give Trani its unique skyline and historic atmosphere. For some of the best views in the city, head towards Fortino Sant'Antonio. From here, you get an incredible panorama over the harbor, the cathedral and the Adriatic Sea. And right nearby is a small park that's perfect for taking a break and simply enjoying the atmosphere of the city. Of course, no visit to Puglia would be complete without trying the local seafood. One place I really enjoyed was Pesche, where I tried a delicious sandwich filled with octopus and stracciatella. It's simple, local, and honestly one of the highlights of the trip for me. But if you think that's it, Trani isn't the only beautiful town along the coastline. Just a short distance from Bari lies another place that many travelers completely overlook, Giovinazzo. Welcome to Giovinazzo, one of the hidden gems of Puglia. Located just 10 kilometers from Bari, it is a city you should not miss. So let's explore the unexplored. Compared to Trani, Giovinazzo feels quieter, more local, and even more hidden away. This isn't really a city about ticking off major landmarks. Instead, the real charm of Giovinazzo comes from simply wandering through its streets and soaking in the incredible atmosphere. The historic center is full of narrow stone alleyways, small arches, and old fortifications overlooking the Adriatic Sea. Unlike some of the more famous towns in Puglia, Giovinazzo still feels incredibly authentic and local. As you walk through the old town, you'll mostly encounter locals chatting outside their homes, fishermen near the harbor, and small cafes tucked between centuries-old buildings. And honestly, that slow atmosphere is exactly what makes the city so special. One of the most memorable experiences in Giovinazzo is simply walking along the old harbor and the ancient city walls. From here, you get beautiful views over the Adriatic coastline, the fishing boats, and the historic center rising directly beside the sea. Especially around sunset, the entire city begins to glow in warm golden colors, creating one of the most atmospheric moments anywhere along the Puglian coast. In the center of the old town stands the Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta. Unfortunately, during my visit it was closed. But even from the outside, it remains one of Giovinazzo's most important historic landmarks. Another beautiful church worth seeing, which is not in the city center but closer to the train station, is Parrochia di Sant Agostino, an impressive cathedral dating back to the 17th century. And honestly, that's what makes places like Trani and Giovinazzo so special. They may not be as famous as other destinations in Puglia, but that's exactly why exploring them feels so rewarding. So, if you're looking to experience a quieter and more authentic side of southern Italy, these two coastal towns absolutely deserve a place on your itinerary. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell in order to not miss any future video, and see you next time.